looks like a pretty hot topic of conversation. So we won't be talking for that long because we're going to throw it open to the floor, and so everyone can let us know what's happening in your individual institutions and what we can do from our side to include you in our processes and make things easier. I'm glad that Marcia was able to talk to us when Susie was here about her problems that they had in Deakin, because they mirror exactly, and Marcia will have to leave us soon, so I'm glad that she got to tell you about her experiences. But ours at Monash have been exactly the same. You would think that with a big institution we would have a handle on this and that everyone would know. Everyone doesn't know. And it's a reality of life of our academics that they have metrics that they have to abide by, and the amount of research they bring into this institution is one of them. With academic strengthening, no doubt in your institutions as it is in ours, there's a big push on your research component. There were lots and lots of pockets of learning and teaching happening within the faculties across our university. It wasn't that it wasn't being done, it was being done across the university, but it just wasn't being recorded. You know, we had a lot of educational research outcomes. We've had a lot of funding in the university records, but it just hasn't been allocated properly. Okay, and we had, Angela spoke briefly this morning about her fellowship. Angela gets her records from Ropes, and it doesn't show any of her projects that she was working on with ALTC. So we're talking about, you know, over hundreds of thousands of dollars that weren't recorded. Angela has to, as an associate professor, bring in a certain amount of research income to the university. She had nothing against her name. She'd done it all, it was all there, but it was just a matter of changing the mindset of the university to have that research count. There was a big thing with Marnie. She couldn't work out, there was all this research being done in this area and it was being recorded nowhere. And she said, we have to change this. Where do we need to start to make this happen? You know, how do we fix it? I think the problem, oh no, sorry, go back. The problem was you would go to the research office in Monash's case and they would say what I'm sure a lot of you had heard, no, that's not research. It's not research. Well, you know, I don't know, in our case I think it was, the Monash Research Office had been burnt before in classifying everything that came into them based on what the academics told them. And they were hesitant, very hesitant. There's strict rules regarding what's classified as research, and they weren't prepared. They just weren't prepared to put our learning and teaching research in. I mean, I went into the ARC discovery and linkages, and there isn't field of research code for education, higher education research, so 1300 or whatever it is. There was nothing being put in there. We knew that it was happening. We needed to have that link with the research office that says, okay, if you're getting something here, if you don't know how to record it, go to people that can help you. And I said to Marnie, people don't know. She said, right, that's it. You have to get, there's a lack of communication between the academics and their faculties, even at the faculty level. They have little research offices in the faculty level. Academics will go and say, I've got this project, I want to put it through. Or can you assist me with this? Well, one classic in one of our arts faculty said, well, why should we do this? This isn't research. Why should the research office in our faculty help these people? So there's fundamental flaws at the faculty level, not just at the institutional level. Academics, some of them aren't even going to put it into their research income. They're not even getting that far. So I said to Marnie, there's just a massive lack of communication between faculties and the research office and the institution as a whole. So a lot of them weren't aware that they could do, that they could claim it, and the MRO was refusing to classify. So, I mean, this is from one of our faculty research officers. Would the ARO, arts faculty, be able to assist staff with applications for these research grants in learning and teaching? Answer. I'm not sure why we should. It's not a research-related matter. Can you let me know what the rationale is for asking my team to assist? That's what we're up against. I'm sure Marcia had exactly the same thing happen at Deakin. There was just not an awareness anywhere. So we had to start from scratch. Marnie got together with, I think it's really important to identify your key stakeholders in the universities, the ones that are going to make the changes and allow you to make those changes. So we had our research office, our BBC research, all the research managers within the faculties. We got together to meet with them and to discuss why they weren't doing it. Okay, we had to go right back to basic. The higher education research data collection, herd seed. Okay, we had to be able to demonstrate with them. I think I've got it up. Okay, these were the key areas of the research, how it was defined. We had to make sure that all the research we were doing into learning and teaching fit within those research categories. Angela had to do the same thing with her fellowship. She had to be able to demonstrate that she met those definitions, that a portion of hers was met within those definitions. So Marnie got together with the key stakeholders and said, well, what do you need from us to feel comfortable so that when you get one of these OLT grants or one of these grants within the learning and teaching area, what will you feel comfortable by having to enable you to just automatically, without even considering, being able to classify as category 2 research? And they said, we have to meet the definitions. Okay, well that's easy. What we'll do, we had a person working in our team that went actually to a Queensland university and said, what are you doing because Queensland had a great deal of success in this area, and Angela said some of the fellows did as well. And they said, well, we had a simple checklist. It was a one-page document. It got sent out to, we advertised through all the academics and said, okay, if you've got research in this area, fill out this checklist and then you'll be fine. You'll have met, there it is there, I've got copies of this by the way, and we'll go up on our website. You need to tick the definition that you'd met one of the criteria and then activities to support the research. It seemed pretty simple process, but it's something that the research office hadn't thought about, and this made it easier. This made it easier for them. They didn't have to think about it. They didn't have to trawl through. If they could have these checked off by the academics, they were comfortable with it. So we got that approved by the Education Committee, and it was implemented. So now with all our academics, we like them all to come through the Promoting Excellence Officer grants, well, all the OLT grants do have to come via us in the first place. Now, that never used to happen. They could apply directly to the OLT. Now they have to come through us for institutional support, so we can capture all of this. A lot of it was going out and we weren't aware of it, so we weren't able to direct academics to be able to know how to make this research count. Angela mentioned briefly that in the past, and this was happening in Monash and no doubt in your institutions, that you would get grant funding, you would sign your funding agreements with the ALTC, you would issue an invoice, they would pay you the money, it would come into your funds and that's it. That's classified as a commercial transaction, and then once that happens, you can't record it as research income. So then what we decided to do, well, we've got the research office counted as income, but we need to make sure that when the income comes into the university, we don't lose it there. If you sign what's called a contractor C agreement, I'm not sure if it's the same in institutions, it's classified as a commercial transaction. What we did was met with the university solicitor's office and said, we need a contract drawn up that alleviates the need to have a commercial transaction undertaken, and if we get this signed by the lead institution and the collaborating partners, then we can file this with the research office, and it becomes, there's a lot of legal aspects to this that I'm not quite sure of, but providing this subcontract agreement instead of an invoice, it allowed then it to be going straight into the university as research income. I will provide copies of that subcontract agreement. We send it out to all our collaborating institutions, and we send it out as, I can't remember who said, I think it was Andrew, there's a minimum requirement at Monash that if we're working as a partner on OLT grant, that we require $5,000 be included in the budget, and we can use that as research. And it's a quid pro quo. If we're a lead, we provide that $5,000 to each of our partner institutions as well. So it seems pretty simple, but it took probably about 14 months for us to go through all this negotiation as well. We are continuing, at the Promoting Excellence team, are meeting with all the research managers at the faculty level next month to explain to them that they can and should be following this process to enable all academics to record theirs as research income. So, we've also explained to them about the fields of research. We also will be explaining to them about the fields of research codes. Okay, it's 13130103. That's the field of research codes that people aren't aware about. Let's see. I think that's probably just about it, because I want to find out what other people are doing and if they've got other things that they're doing within their institutions. But it seems pretty simple, but that's what made it work. You got anything to add, Joy?
No, nothing at all. I hope it's clear. We can check out actually whether that process sounds helpful.
I think what we want to know is what your experiences in your institutions are and what the brick walls you have come across are, I think. And we can start with there.
And what we're going to put up on the educational PI website. We'll put up those resources that we have developed at Monash on the state-based PEI website. So you can have a look at them after this meeting, and more than happy to talk to you if you want to follow it up to and have kind of more detailed discussions.
So, yes, ma'am.
How much does the research office take off the grant, off the top? What's their percentage at the moment?
In what respect, sorry?
Or when you get a grant in and it goes through the research office, they used to take 28% or something. What's their percentage now?
Oh, I don't know. They take it off for what, right?
You have to put a 28% overhead in on your budget.
No, not on the budget. Like you get a grant, and if it goes to the research office, they take a certain percentage of it. And I was just wondering how much that was.
No, I didn't think they did.
Is that no? It's not Ballarat.
It's all centrally funded, so that when you from the courses, this is the travesty of the whole thing. The courses that people run. For example, we run a grad cert. That brings in about $180,000 a year. Of that money, the faculty takes about 27%, and the university takes about 30%, which leaves you with the rest, which is just under or just over 30%. And you have to deliver the course on that funding. That level goes from to the faculty and to the university, pays for the research office.
I think that's a side issue. I think that there's a philosophical question that hasn't been addressed, and that is that is a learning and teaching project necessarily a research project? And I understand that, you know, sometimes they are research projects, but they may also not be research projects. You know, they may be implementation of strategies. And
if that's the case, when you came to the checklist, you'd find that it was problematic and you couldn't fill it in. And then you probably know that you couldn't do it. Like the checklist works for both people, for the person who's making the research proposal application to actually check out whether it is going to be counted. And if the case, I mean, they might want to alter their methodology even, so that it could be. But if it could be that they don't put in the application at all.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I think it's great to now have a tool whereby people, where that issue arises, can, you know, actually make an assessment. But I also think that there is another point of view, which is that we have a sector-wide issue of not recognising the value of learning and teaching. And so, you know, the whole sort of pressure to count this as research income arises because we're not valuing learning and teaching income. So if we could learn to value learning and teaching income, as the previous speaker said, that's our core business, is learning and teaching in the university sector. Why don't we give it more prestige? You know, and I think that's the actual issue that we have to address, really.
I actually totally agree, but I think we have to start somewhere. And this is a really good place to start.
And
Because
also,
you're getting
no one in the
equal-
university even knew how much was coming into the university for these kind of things.
Yeah.
It wasn't even totaled up. At least now it can be literally counted.
Yeah, but you're counting all your learning and teaching grants as research grants?
If
So-
they tick those boxes.
If they tick those
if they
boxes.
tick-
Yes.
But we're giving these to academics when they start their project.
Yeah.
It's really important not to try and make it fit at the end.
Yes.
You know,
Sure.
it's really important to turn, it's a matter of changing the perception within the university. It's a matter of a lot of academics, they don't think about their learning and teaching in this way. So it's a matter of getting them when they first come to us
Yeah.
and saying, have you thought about this?
But look, truthfully, there is actually a very simple way you can count learning and teaching income. The income is being counted in Research Master under the Projects module. You just have to put in another function in the Projects module in the Research Master database that counts, that has a drop-down menu that says learning and teaching income. So, I mean, the fact that it has you can get a technical solution, a very simple IT solution to counting it, actually. So, but the fact that it's not counted is really to do with an attitude, and I think it's the culture
Absolutely.
change. The culture
Absolutely.
change that is the actually fundamental problem.
I totally agree. I absolutely totally agree.
I think that until you get that, you might as well have the academics benefit from the research side of things until you get the change
Well, that's,
at the institution level.
and that's why we're
Doesn't
starting
that
this step.
Doesn't that undermine the message, the overall goal? It's sort of like caving in and saying, well, we'll get it classed as research, and therefore it's adding to the belief that learning and teaching is a lesser thing. That's right.
But most of the projects I've seen that have been counted as learning and teaching research do include an element of research scholarship in
Not all of
learning
it.
and teaching.
No, but the ones
The
we've had,
ones
those are
we've had that
methodology.
seem to be.
Is
And what about
evaluation.
what about when someone wants to do a really worthwhile project that is in research?
Yeah, well,
That's
exactly.
using
That's
existing knowledge
that's
and just
what
implementing
Kerry
it.
was talking about. That's that area that we've still got to.
But
still have to
there's
work.
value in those projects as well.
I think isn't that a
Absolutely.
separate discussion? Like,
No, there's always research and development. So what you're talking about are the development projects. And it's how you class it and how do you add it. You can call it as research project or research and development projects. So that's the two different distinctions that they make.
I mean, what happens with you, Melanie and Natalie? What happens at UClass?
I'm not sure.
Well, none of our grants get counted by the research office, and I think the story I told at the meeting was I was putting in an ARC application and I asked the research office whereabouts do I put my ALTC projects in this application, and they said, oh, what are they? So there wasn't really an awareness of that. So on that perspective, no, they're not counted. I mean, my personal perspective is most of what we're doing is actually scholarly, and whether it's research in the same way as some of these other projects, I'm not so worried about that, because I think almost every ALTC, if not every ALTC project I've seen, is around a scholarly application of learning and teaching, or some kind of scholarship, and it's in the discipline of higher education, and this is the way that we work. Just because we don't undertake a literature review and then do a pre and a post test or whatever it might be, doesn't mean it's not research and scholarly. So I think it is. And we had a provocation, which is a feisty discussion that we have amongst our academic staff, and I invited both the DVC research and the DVC of students in education, and we said, is teaching and learning research? And the DVC of research, just at the end of it, said, I can't actually see why it's not. He could see no reason why it shouldn't be counted. So, I mean, I actually think that, although I take the point that maybe we are playing the game, I also think that maybe we should say, no, we are in a discipline. That discipline is higher education and teaching and learning. These grants are scholarly grants, and therefore they're research and they should be counted like all the others.
I think we can take that sort of disciplinary definition of research to look at creative work. For an artist, the creative work is research. You could argue that we're fudging the use of the word research to allow the creative work to be research, but it's sort of what we do
But
so
it's
that we
counted,
can,
it's in the.
yeah, it's what we do to respect that as a piece of, well, this is the peak output of creation of new knowledge here. I think OLT projects that don't create new knowledge would be something somewhat rare.
Anyway, we're making inroads at our institution, as I believe Deakin are too, and I think that as long as you involve, I think you've got to go to the key stakeholders, the people that are going to need to have this armed with this knowledge to make informed decisions on what gets classified or not is the first step, I think. And it took a long time, but the process itself wasn't that difficult. It was just changing the mindset of people within the university. So, but as I said, we will provide. Now, I just want to briefly, because I had a discussion with Melody before. Has everyone accessed this yet?
Yeah.
So this is the state-based. This is your website, your Google site. I believe that I have anyone that was on our distribution list and that's been invited to this should have site permission to this. If for any reason you don't, please let me know because I can add it here in about 2 minutes. This is an interactive site. We want you to use it. You will all have editing rights to this. You can put things up there. Okay? Melody was saying that she wanted to pose some questions and get a discussion forum going on this. I'll pop it. Anita, we can put a discussion forum on. Did you have that problem with Merv?
It takes some doing, but we could try.
We will. I can create a new tab for Q&As and things. I really want you to use this. And anything that you want added up, we can do that from our end as well. But you should all be able to get in and play around with it. If you make a mistake, doesn't matter. It's a Google site. It's pretty easy to rectify anything. And if you want some clues on how to navigate through it, just give us a call. But we want to be able to start putting things like, there was a discussion regarding someone who wanted some help on budgets. I deal with the budgets for all OLTC grants at Monash, and I'm really happy to put up our budget resources and things that our guides that we provide people to do budgets. Anyone, if you have things that you think would be of interest to the network, please upload them or send them to me to upload. I can do it in 5 minutes. So if you're more comfortable with emailing myself or Anita or Joy, we can do that. This is a really valuable resource if people start to use it. We will put all our presentations up. This is being videotaped. We put the videotapes up so people that haven't been able to attend today, they can go in and look at those videos from today. And, we'll put up our HERDC checklist, anything, and anyone can use it. Okay?
It's pretty intuitive, like with these buttons. It's Google kind of web-based, so it's pretty intuitive.
I was just going to say, Penny, was you and I having that conversation, and I thought there was a discussion post, and I remember our conversation now, that you said it was quite difficult to get. So perhaps if you have a resources tab, if you upload your resources with a point about what they're for, then we can all look at that and then make contact with the person at that institution perhaps to follow up on conversation or clarify.
I'll pop a resources tab on there, and anyone that wants to will upload all the information from today as well, and all the PowerPoints from Marcia and from Susie and all that sort of stuff. But I really would like, I know you get bombarded with going to websites and links, but this is something that you can actually get into and play around with yourself. Okay, so it'd be a really good place. And then if you're going into it, even if you're going into it once a week, once a fortnight, at least you see people that want, it's a big thing in our universities when you get an OLTC grant, collaboration is the key. A lot of people say, well, I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone in any institution. If you say, I'm looking to do a project on this, is someone interested? Can someone contact me? Because I'd really like to put in a grant proposal for this. Is anyone interested? This is a perfect forum for that. So that you don't have to search for those people, you can get the people to come to you. Because after that 3 minute, I saw some really positive things from the 3 minute speed dating. Oh, I didn't know you were doing that. Oh, you're the person that I need to see about that. And even within institutions, people didn't know what people were doing in their own institutions. So this would be a really good format. Under current projects, looking for partners, that's where it goes. Pop it in there and say, is anyone interested? So, and it will just help. So,
It does come back to what Susie Hewlett was talking about this morning, that Victoria's kind of travelling a bit below what we should be doing given the strength of the state. And the really overarching purpose of this network is to try to build from the strengths that are here and connect people up and share so that we're not all duplicating. And we do support collaborations, and we are sharing resources to make all of our jobs easier. So please do use it. And if in doubt, always just phone if it seems too complicated.
Because I had to learn from scratch to develop the site, so I know when I messed it up all the time. But you can always get it back. So please don't feel uncomfortable with navigating around. If you do a mistake,
It stays for 30 days before it gets, so even if you deleted the whole site, we can get it back. In 30